Neil, can you let us know once we're streaming on Facebook and YouTube?
Good to go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome today to this special board meeting of the Foundation for Excellence. It is Monday, December 20th, 2:30 p.m. and I'm calling to order this meeting. We will start today with the approval of minutes from the meeting October 25th of 2021. Could I have a motion, please?
I can move. This is Lonberg.
Thank you, Director Lonberg. Do I have a second?
Washington.
Thank you, Director Washington, for that. And at this time, I would ask that we vote to accept the minutes from this meeting of October 25th. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any disagree, please say nay. All righty, with none disagreeing, we'll go ahead and accept the minutes from meeting October 25th. Moving on to our next agenda item, we have reports and communication, at which time I will hand it over to Steve Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. We have a special meeting today called for an amendment to the 2022 FFE city budget. And the reason for this is that if you remember back this autumn when we presented the budget, there was the added complication this year with American Rescue Act dollars that the city was granted from the federal government to budget together and make sure that the priorities were aligned and the sources and uses of dollars were optimized best across departments, across partnerships, and so forth. There were two housing items which, from the best efforts of staff, had been thought to be cleared for approval with ARPA, but it turns out in the end that they were not eligible. And because really they are urgent pieces of the affordable housing puzzle that we're always trying to put together as a community and as city and FFE staff, it was asked if we could add those to the grant next year. Those two pieces are a housing pre-development fund, and those allow for the creation of housing with rental, affordable rental as the end goal. And so the pre-development is the complicated stuff that's difficult to fund in the first place, such as environmental studies, assessment, planning, getting designs worked up and so forth. So that'd be for $250,000. And then the Lawrence properties for $400,000. And that's an obsolete housing development that the city now owns and really is the sole party able to redevelop it. I think for fairly obscure reasons of development and funding and actual who owns it kind of factors. And so we would then, once redeveloped, those would be resale opportunities for affordable housing. So those together would be the two pieces to add to the affordable housing portfolio. This is the first time we've done a budget amendment. I appreciate your time. But again, staff really felt that it was urgent to make sure that this got in for work in 2023. So I can scroll down to the amended transmittal memo, and what you'll see here is everything is the same, except that here under affordable housing, we've adjusted that bottom line upward. So it's $1.56 million. And then of course, adjusted our bottom lines for the subtotal for aspirational and then the total grant to the city itself. With that, I'm happy to, and again, here is also the addition, pardon for the scrolling, under affordable housing, the descriptions are added here. Lawrence properties and housing pre-development. So I'll scroll back up to the top line item. That would conclude our presentation. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Where are the Lawrence properties at?
Those are in the north side neighborhood on, I believe, Lawrence Street itself.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, could you please tell us how many properties are on that specific area that we're discussing in the north side?
So the Lawrence properties, it might be easiest to visualize. There's a particular development that you may have seen driving down West Edge that is a series of connected row houses. So it's kind of unusual for Kalamazoo. They look almost like English or European style, and the yards face to the north. and they have kind of front yard lots. And they are, I believe it's under 20 units, and they are condominium style. So each, although it was one development, as I understand it, each one was owned. And the city had, over a series of years, sought ownership of them. And that took quite a long time, as you can imagine with things like that. There's, you're waiting for people to move or for circumstances to change. But it's my understanding we now have total ownership of that property so that we can, without disturbing anybody living there, redevelopment. It was really obsolete, I think, for quite a long time. And just getting it up to standard for, modern families to live in while still being affordable was a big opportunity for that development. And with that, it's quite a large piece of property. The sort of block that it's on, is my understanding, it used to be actually a school long time ago. So it's a big plotted piece of land. And so with that, you have all of the improvements to like just the fabric of that block and the ability to, add in a much more inviting kind of a place appeal to the redevelopment.
Thank you for that. So one thing I definitely want to highlight about these two projects is that the housing pre-development, that those are going to be rental opportunities, and we're looking to make those affordable rentals. And the Lawrence properties, these are for resale opportunities. So this is going to increase home ownership within the North Side neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, they were condominiums before, so I want to be careful not to say that it would increase home ownership, but it would certainly maintain those properties as continued affordable ownership opportunities. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so my question is, and so right now, aren't they rental property?
The Lawrence, I think, are condominium style. So that's ownership.
Okay, I never knew that, and I know that area well. So,
It may not be 100%, as a matter of fact. So that could be a distinction there, but I'm not actually, I don't 100% on that detail.
so what I just want to understand, so after the redevelopment, the residents who currently live there will have possibly the opportunity to become owners if they're not?
So I believe it's entirely vacant when this will be developed. No one will live there.
Okay, it's vacant now?
Well, I can't say today it is, but at the time of redevelopment, it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
So for example, if it was a lease term, or if it was a condo would have been bought out. If it was a lease term, that lease would have expired with a date certain.
Okay. Thank you.
Will that redevelopment happen beginning in 22 or later on in 23 or 24?
That's a good question. I believe it's targeted for 23, and we're getting, I would say, better as a city. I'll say this myself humbly. We're getting better as a city, as acknowledging that usually developments of this size are 2-year opportunities, especially when you've got environmentals. You've got to really get in and do a project of this size. So if we were to close on this now, I don't know that they would have it sort of topped out by the end of next year. It's possible, but we'd have to probably talk to CPED, because community planning, economic development, excuse me. Once this project isn't a go until the funding's in place, right? So even as of today, it's not a certainty. So I would hesitate to say 2022. But I believe once we get started, we could definitely get a completion date for 2023.
So Steve, doesn't the city own the property across the street as well on the corner? At one time, they were supposed to make it like a little recreational place for the youth in the community, especially in that project that you're talking about, to have somewhere to go. And now it's just a big lot.
Do you have cross streets, Director Taylor? I'm not exactly sure which property.
It's not Norway. It's it's right directly across from the condominiums you're talking about. Right directly across the street. And between Lawrence and the housing project you're talking about, right directly across the street.
I'm having to resort to my phone for a visual. That's Drexel and Drexel and Northwest
Yeah.
Ridge. Okay.
Yes,
I don't know. I can find out.
because I believe from my understanding, when I was working with the NACD, I was under the understanding that the city owned that property and they were supposed to be doing something with it, which obviously it did not work out, or something didn't go right, because it's just a big empty lot right now.
It looks like it's 904 West Edge, so I can look and get back to the board, Drexel Northwest Edge.
Yeah, well, I was just asking that question basically because if the city does own it and you're gonna redevelop these condominiums, it would make sense to do something with that property as well.
I can report back this winter.
Okay.
By email and or by board. I'll find out the history on that.
Okay, thank you.
This is Director Alice Taylor. I have a question.
Mr. Director.
Back to the Lawrence properties. I need to be clear. So if they're condominiums and they were owners, does that mean that you bought the property from the owners?
I believe it would. For that, I'd have to dig in with staff and find out the particulars there. But they would have been, if they were owned and we now own them, then it would have been a purchase scenario. Yeah.
Okay.
So Steve, while you're information gathering, if you wouldn't mind also, one of the things that's coming to mind for me right now is about, making sure that we are making opportunities towards making solutions for some of our housing needs, but also while we're doing that we're not creating more displacement. I'm not sure, we talk about, we did buy these properties from the owners, and you know what, it could have been people who don't even live in Kalamazoo that were renting these properties. And so I'm glad that they're going to be able to have an opportunity to have somebody that lives in the city of Kalamazoo to now purchase these once after we've redeveloped them. But I do also just want to be intentional about making sure that we're following through with making sure that, as we're moving forward, working on solutions towards affordable housing and ending homelessness, that we're not unintentionally also displacing people at that same time. Okay, so at this time, I would like to see if, as long as everyone else is okay and there's no further comments from the board, I was going to see if there was any public comments.
There are no public comments at this time.
Thank you for checking on that. Any further comments from the board with regards to any of, oh, I'm so sorry. We have to vote, don't we? I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself, so I do apologize for the board and everyone here. I would like to make a motion then for us to accept this upward amendment or to bring it to the board for vote.
The chair cannot make a motion. You can request a motion, but the chair is not permitted to make the motion.
Thank you. I'd like to clarify that I would like to request a motion.
So moved. Director Hess.
Thank you, Director Hess. Second, please.
Second. Director Taylor. Alice.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Alice Taylor. And now if we could vote, please, all those in favor? With
Yay.
aye? And yay.
Yay.
Yay or
Yay,
aye, both
yay.
are acceptable.
Aye.
Oh,
Nice.
all the enthusiasm. I love it. And then if there's any that disagree, please with a nay or nah. All right, with nobody disagreeing and no further comments, this time I would like to ask, although I believe we've already clarified that there are no public comments.
Nope, there are no public comments.
Thank you for confirming that once again. Any further comments from the board? With no further comments from the board, I would request that at this time.
Madam Chair, before you leave, I entered the meeting a little late. I was busy working on Freedom of Information.
Yes,
request.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I made the minutes. I assume you called it to order, but I assume there was approval of the October 25th minutes?
Yes, Attorney Robinson, I have notes on those. I can circle
Okay.
back with you after the meeting.
That's all I need to know is who made that motion and who
Thank you, sir.
seconded it. Thank you.
Thank you for asking, sir. At this time, I would move that for our meeting to be adjourned.
Happy holidays, everyone,
Yes, I hope you all have a happy holiday. Thank you
and a
again.
safe one.
Happy
Happy
holidays. Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.